You're
No,
what do you mean
this was
then?
30 years ago. I was
You were
30.
always ahead of your time.
I was
Look,
30 years ahead of my. Now I'm only 20 apparently.
yeah,
So
yeah, you're
maybe
slowing
I'll
down
catch
only a
up.
little.
Everyone will catch
Yeah,
up. My time's slowing down. Um. Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, I've been
You
having
hit
some.
the alien topic right on the head.
Oh, we're good now. So what was going on there then? Overloading. Okay. Okay. So now we are really here.
We're here.
We're not just we're not just a muted pale existence. We are now in full stereo sound. And I will repeat everything that I just said, apart from the singing bit. Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome back. So, as I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted by the the muted gremlins, the gremlins that mute. So every month, I've been doing a live stream, and I'm trying to get it up to the point where I just effortlessly pull together something all by myself. But at the moment, there's 4 other people in this room, and there's 2 people downstairs. But what we're trying to get to is a point where I can literally roam around wirelessly, make music on the fly with my gloves in the garden, and just stream to everywhere at the same time. But today we are halfway there. We're doing it in-house with our team, and we're just using OBS. And instead of doing one long stream, because that's quite exhausting, and I don't know how anyone could watch that, me blethering on for 2 hours. So we're going to split it into 3. So we're starting off here with my good friend Shara. And we are going to talk about something very exciting. I'll get back to that in a minute. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to do another stream, a short stream, with an update in Oracles and stuff that you can do there, download samples and all that stuff. Quite exciting. And I'll also show you what I've done in the period of time since I've spoken to Shara and then. And then at about 7 or 8 o'clock, I think, I'm going to do a live improvisation with the gloves at the piano as Him Gone Ape, my new open, exploratory, free and happy to collaborate with anyone and anything at any time. And that's going to be at 8. So we're going to start off with something that I've been looking forward to sharing for ever since I met Shara. So I met Shara on a chat online after I'd messaged my friend. So, okay, I have to backtrack a tiny bit. A little bit distracting because there's some conversations going on. Is everything okay now? You still hear the audio? Okay, good. So, I messaged my friend who's called Ed Newton Rex, and I met him because he used to work at Stable Audio, and Stable Audio are the same people that create Stable Diffusion, and he was in touch with me, and we were generating an AI voice. We were experimenting. He knows I like to experiment. Anyway, he left there because he didn't like what they were doing, and that's all in the news. And then he started his own company called Fairly Trained, and Fairly Trained basically, its whole purpose is to create the trust, a kind of stamp that customers and services can see how the AI models that are being used in this business, whichever business, have been fairly trained. They've had permissions, and they are you can feel good about yourself, ethically training things. And so I got in contact with him. I said, right, I need to have an ethical AI generative music company. Where are they? I can't find any. And he said, well, there is one. And this was, yeah, I don't think there's really any more. Maybe there are. Certainly thin on the ground. Anyway, so I said, okay, well, tell me about Jen, this company. And he said, well, actually, you need to speak to Shara Senderoff. She's the CEO. And I was like, okay, cool. Okay, can I have her information? And then he got distracted and didn't quite get back to me immediately. And I was very excited, and I wanted to chat to this woman. So I found her on Instagram, and I sent her a direct message, and very immediately she responded to me, and we got onto a call immediately and had a very long 2 to 3 hour chat. And it was the strangest experience, because it was like this woman and I had connected. I'd felt, in a way, a little bit lonely. Mini violin. That, you know, sometimes people make me feel a bit like strange, like these ideas are crazy. And I hadn't really met anyone at a company such as Jen, or in fact any company, anyone in the music industry, to be honest, who was aligned in my hopes for the future and why I spend most of my days doing what I do. Because I want to create something that supports musicians, that creates an ethical foundation for the future and for the now, so that we can build something that makes sense and is sustainable. It's not just for AI. I started doing this 10 years ago. The main reason that we've kind of carried on at all, which is what's called Auracles now, was called Mycelia, and in the between it was called Creative Passport, is because I saw a new technology with blockchain. I was like, okay, there's some technology there that is going to empower us to be able to have this open database of works. And I felt this enthusiasm from companies outside the music industry who wanted to develop. And it felt like we could fix those problems because there was a kind of external interest in our problem, whether we were music or not, because there was a possibility with this new technology. So I did literally hundreds of talks and panels over the last 10 years, and not very much amounted out of it, to be honest. And I got a bit like, what's the point of this? You know, it makes sense. Everybody says it makes sense. So why can't I get it to happen? So I just thought, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's sad, but it's just, just hemorrhaging money, shouting about it, and nothing's really happening. So I stopped, and then Ed got in touch and said, want to create an AI voice. And then about 5 other companies also did the same thing. And I was like, okay, AI is a thing here. And suddenly the Creative Passport, as it was, now has new legs in this AI space. Maybe this is another technology that I can, jump into and showcase the same idea, but with a different layer. And it became more and more apparent that it's just 1,000 times more needed than it ever was now with AI, because all these companies out there want to work with our music, and they have no one to ask. They have no one to get permissions from. So they're going to the labels maybe, or the governments to decide for us, and that's not acceptable, because this is essentially AI of IP is an extension of ourself. It's like an extension of us individual preferences. It's something entirely different than before. And it's a very personal choice about where you want to meet these services, at what level are you prepared to meet them. And it can't be something like a blanket deal. It's just not possible. So it has to be done from the individuals, and it has to be done in terms of a song, for example, where there might be like 1 person or 10 people involved in that song. They also have to individually each meet that agreement on this work, because they are also part of this song. Yeah, anyway, that was a long introduction to say that Shara totally gets that. And she has been holding back on what other people have just charged ahead, hoping that it's all going to come out in the wash, and, hopefully they won't go to court because they're just basically, stealing music and generating stuff without asking anyone, and often using people's names to do that. The difference here is that Shara, with her company Jen, has gone the extra 1,000 miles to do it the right way, to go and ask all of the people that she can she use their music to create the base model, and paying them to create this base model of music, which she might tell you is significantly less music that needs to be trained on in order to do, to output music, whereas, these other companies, which I won't mention, but I'm sure you know, are just doing that, inhaling music left, right, and centre, and outputting it left, right, and centre, creating business models on things which don't have any foundation in ethics or kindness or anything really. They may sound good, but that's not enough, is it? If we want to build a future that supports each other, not just the tech companies. And eventually just the tech supporting itself. It might not even need us in the end. So let's, imagine that we need to be there, because we do need to be there. And I like that future more. And so I want to do that now. So today is the first day where Jen are launching this new product. I'm going to bring in Shara to tell you, because this is the launch day. And I'm very lucky to be the first artist to be trying out this thing with them. And I really would love you to go and explore it. And imagine, from an artist's perspective, if you're an artist, how it would feel to just dip your toe in at this level. So I know there's like lots of worries about AI, and that's fair. I have experienced a feeling of like extreme positivity working with the people that I work with, because there is agency there. Where there is fear, there is a kind of let's put my head in the sand bit, and nothing is going to change for you if you do that. It is just going to encourage the people who are not going to put their head in the sand, of which there aren't, that many doing it for other reasons that are not just profit. You'll be leaving it to them. So this is just to share. This is an opportunity in a light way to get involved and to try out something new. And I really would love to see what you think. Okay, I've rattled on. So I'm going to introduce Shara Senderoff, and she's on Zoom. She's not here with me. She's across the world doing amazing things, and hopefully she is now on your screen, but I'm not sure if she is. She is. Okay, good. Was she there all along?
I was.
No, okay. Yeah, I
No,
knew you
maybe
were,
it
but I'm
wasn't.
just wondering if they saw you just sitting there.
Maybe not.
Anyway, here she is, Shara Senderoff. Woo!
But when you did say that you were doing crazy things and you felt lonely and you didn't find anyone else, and then you found me, I was like, okay, I'm certifiably equally as crazy as you, which is a large compliment.
Yeah, it's a compliment. I think it's the opposite way around, isn't it? I think those of us who I don't feel crazy. I feel solid in myself. I feel free,
Same.
and I find the things that are very structured and organized in time and space very hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So more and more, that's why
Agree.
institutions, big organizations with heavy red tape and time really just I can't humanly live with that very well. So I'm excited about this because this is something at a human scale almost.
Mm-hmm.
This is like an individual person, an individual song, offering up something with an individual company based on your preferences of what you're willing to go and how much you're willing to do at that point in your comfort zone. And I'm really excited that Auracles is very much part of this journey with you. And we're not fully integrated. It's early days, but I'm really grateful for you for waiting and getting things right, getting things in order. And I felt deeply supported by you with Auracles to keep going. And rather now than worry about deadlines and schedules, I'm just like, let's just get rid of all that. Let's just every day do good stuff
Mm-hmm.
and just keep doing that. And, if people go to Auracles now, they'll be like, what is this? It looks nice and it's kind of cool, but what is it? It's because it's nothing really without, it's not nothing. It is a data, it's information for us to create a home for ourselves and for our songs individually. But the real magic comes when the other party comes in and starts to dance with that information, and in this case, it's you.
Yep.
And so, in the not too distant future, we hope to be fully integrated with you, and this will be our first true example of how Auracles is obviously not all about AI music. It is this relationship we have now with Jen is one service that you can, in the very near future, do this with if you wanted to as an artist. This is the beginning of a marketplace of many, many thousands of services, and Jen are the pioneering service who sees that vision and sees the importance of it. They didn't have to do it this way, but Shara is, just very, I don't know, like deeply connected to like a much bigger picture, which I also exist in that picture. I feel like I belong in that way of thinking about how everything is deeply interconnected. Not just like woo woo, but it's like it is actually data connected as well. So Shara, I really do talk a lot. Can you please tell us about Style Filter?
Yeah, so first off, I'm honored and grateful to be deeply connected with you, and I agree that you exist in another dimension of time and space, and that's and it operates at the speed of light, which is definitely a much better pace. I agree. So yes, let's talk about Style Filter because we've been working on this for a long time, and I think it's totally representative, as you just outlined, of the critical need for oracles. So let me give kind of the broad picture. So I feel like in my journey in the music industry, I've been in so many meetings where people have been like, if only we could capture the vibe of someone visionary like Imogen Heap and we could bottle that up and like other artists could have that magic or other individuals could utilize that magic and everyone kind of chuckles that off. And I heard that for over 10 years. And then when the opportunity for AI rolled around, my view was I don't think the world needs just more music. I think the world needs innovation and product that give us the opportunity to evolve the sonic landscape and do things that are give tools to artists that can empower them to make things that sound differently or evolve their efficiency or bend their mind through time and space to create or hear things that they might not have heard before. And then we thought, well, what if we could bottle up the vibe of the magical geniuses that walk the earth making things that people only dream of making, like yourself? And that's when we came up with Style Filter. And so I love when you tell the story of that you called Ed and heard me because not that many months before, I said I'm bringing Style Filter as soon as we have it in an MVP state. I'm bringing it to Imogen, and someone was like, "Oh, you know Imogen?" I was like, "No, I'm just gonna go to Imogen." And then when you came in my phone, the reason I responded so immediately was because I looked at my phone and almost like fell on the floor because I was like, "Wait, Imogen just came to me." So it was obviously all meant to be. And so Style Filter, for a very simple explanation, is a tool that allows you to infuse the style, vibe, feel of artists and producers into your own generated tracks. And then roll with those tracks and do as you wish. Break them into stems, make more music, use them on your videos, use them in your wildest imagination of projects. And so today we are launching that product. It's something we have worked on for the last 2 years. We patented this product years ago. It's a very sophisticated technology that allows us to not to train on one song. So every style filter. So today we're launching 5 style filters, one for each of 5 of your songs that we're launching with. And you purchase that in a very simple way. And the goal is to generate revenue for the artist. Historically, as you know better than anyone else, and I feel like we talk about this and you talk about it on every live stream and probably conversation that you've ever had, is artists are paid last if they're paid at all. And so my view was we have an opportunity with AI to not only change the framework, but flip it on its head. What if artists are paid first? Especially because their style and vibe is their energy, it is their essence, it is them as an individual. So if they're going to be generous, to use my own pun, and allow that essence to be used in others' creative work, then they should be compensated for that immediately, not after the fact, not down the line, now. And so the model is pretty simple. You buy the style filter, it allows you to infuse your generations with that sound and make things that are new. So that's what we're launching today. And all the money goes to you. The vast majority of the money goes to you. And Oracles is a critical piece of that puzzle because the complexity of the music industry is would be an understatement. It's obviously it's a dinosaur. And if I wanted to go license all the rights to all these songs, I don't even have anywhere to go. It's a mess. Even if luckily, I'm in the industry, so I know the path. Even knowing the path, it's a complicated and messy and muddy and dirty path. And you might not be able to get to the place where you have any clue who worked on half of these songs. And so enter Oracles, a critical part of the story because if Oracles allows creators and music makers to maintain the data around their track, then if they want to create a style filter and I want to make sure that that style filter pays all of the people that were involved on that track every time it's purchased, I need the information and there's nowhere to get it other than Oracles.
Yeah.
So it makes the process really simple for a creator to come on and put in their information around a song and then say, cool, I think Jen is ethical, just like you discovered. I like this product. I want to create a style filter and let people use it. I'll go right through here. and do so. So that's kind of the shortest version of explaining a few really important things
Yeah.
of what we're launching today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've been working on it for a long time.
And it's super fun. So if anybody out there wants to, you go to genmusic.ai and you create yourself an account and you set up a subscription, and you can use Gen without style filter. You can just generate tracks, that you can do whatever you want with, and that it's been trained ethically and that it's come from a good place. So you can just do that if you want. There are other places you can do that as well, but you can do that here. But that it's kosher, as you would say, as some would say. And then you can go further and then add a style filter to that prompt, and that will create that prompt, which is different every time. And the sound of it's different every time. That's the fun of it. You can just generate a bunch of starter ideas. But then if you wanted to if I just turn up the style filter of Headlock or Just For Now or, Last Night of an Empire, there is something there. There's an essence. There's a character that comes out, which is akin to each one of these songs. And it doesn't infringe on the copyright, so there's no copyright there. It actually, I know Jen basically goes through almost like a machine musicologist, and it goes, is this close to the original in any way? No, good, okay, then it's allowed out. If it even accidentally sounded like Headlock in terms of the structure of the chords, it would not allow it to go through. So it is checking that, even if it happened to do it accidentally, which it probably would, because eventually, millions and millions and millions of generations, you're probably likely to accidentally hit on a chord progression that might be Headlocks, you know what I mean? So anyway, it does that, so it covers that. And it's not the recording, so it's not a master rights either, because it is generating new recorded music, not sampling the existing recording. It is, through their technology, they have kind of gathered the essence and they've trained off that, because Auracles has allowed them to train off it for that purpose for a period of time that is stated by, this is where we start. And if this is the really amazing thing, which I'm super excited about, because there's always this feeling, we're so used to signing contracts for like ever. You're like, oh, I've got to sign a contract for an album and it could take 5 years, or in my case 20 years. And it feels like forever, and then after that there's still amount of time, still, or with a manager or whatever. It's just, everything's just so heavy, like just heavy contracts, and none of this lightweight feel that you kind of have a chat with someone and then you leave, and then you have a chat with someone else and then you leave, So this exciting thing about this is that, I'm obviously going to leave mine up there for ages because I just love it. I'm dying to see how people use it, and I'll probably chop and change and have different tracks up there in time, maybe some with vocals in time. So the fun of it is that if you wanted to experiment as an artist, you can. I know that they're like at the moment hand-picking, checking, because Auracles isn't foolproof in the sense that as yet musicians aren't coming on and guaranteeing that they own those tracks, because we haven't built the system entirely, but we are doing that. We're very much in demo form. But Shara knows that these are my rights, so she is allowed to do this. And in the future, if you are an independent artist, you do own your rights, you can do this, even though the rights technically aren't infringing at all. But just so there's no grey areas, no one's going to nip at Jen's heels for lawsuits or whatever. Just so they can feel comfortable. Right now, you find artists who 100% have the okay to do this, and probably own all of their own stuff, and then they can train off that, and you can do the same thing. And because it is an early stage service, it means that there's not going to be millions and millions of tracks on there, so you're more likely to be discovered as an artist right now if you went to Gen, in the same way that eons ago, when 15, 20 years ago, when Twitter came online, I was one of the first people in music to go on there because I just wanted to share my process, and as a result I got featured by Twitter, and therefore I got 1 million followers, not because anyone knew who I was, but just because they were like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting, I'll follow a musician. And I got lots of new fans through that, of just kind of visibility essentially. So this is an opportunity to kind of go into a service at an early stage and have more eyeballs on your music that will eventually lead to people discovering your music, because they will hear your music, see who you are and be like, oh, I actually like the way that style filter sounded. I wonder what they do, when they go and listen to their music. So there's lots of kind of advantages jumping in now, experimenting, because you might decide, okay, I'm going to try it for a month maybe, and I'm going to see how that goes. Or maybe you've got a new track coming out and you only want it to just everyone in time. You might want to say, I only want people to use this for a day. And then everyone floods in. I've got to get this possibility to use this weekend track or whatever it is for this one day. And then they take it off. And there's this feeling of kind of exclusivity and scarcity, which you can't get at the moment. It's really hard to get. I mean, we can with NFTs or whatever, but it's just this kind of, it's a different way of thinking about extensions of your music, and having the kind of malleability and accessibility, like an umbilical cord to a mother to their children, or to their babies. You are able to choose from 1 minute to the next, up, down, there, not there, how many tracks, da da da. So yeah, if you're curious and you're sitting on the fence, I just think it's an exciting time and an opportunity where there might, who knows what might happen in regulations. There might be all kinds of clampdowns. There might be all kinds of collection societies deciding they want to own this space. And I really want to push against that. I think it's really important that the songwriters, the IP owners, those people are directly dealing with these services, because we've had enough of these long journeys of payments and lost money and lost credits and lost data. There's no need for it. You can really do it like farm to fork, kind of. So yeah, I'm excited for many reasons about this, and I really think that Shara has thought so deeply, and I appreciate it so much. You can tell, the way it looks, and yeah, it's great. So go and have fun with it. I've just set myself up an account. I had a free account, but I wanted to set up a new account. And I have just bought myself a pack of headlock style filters. So I'm now going to, I might just for fun. I know you can't see my screen, so it's a bit annoying. Because we just I didn't think about that before.
Should I do like
2
a
seconds
quick
now.
spin on my end?
Yeah, go on then.
Why don't I just do like a quick
do that. Yeah.
user showcase of how you use it. So this is the dashboard. It's meant to look really simple. You don't have to know how to do what you can do, Imogen. You make a prompt down here in the prompt bar. I like to make pretty detailed ones. I like to add the mood and specific instruments like synths, snares. And then you go here and you add your style filter. And if you don't have any style filters, it'll push you to add some. So I have all of yours. So we'll pick headlock, and then based on if you bought low or high strength. So like this is showing me I don't have any low minutes because I wanted the highest strength. So then I can add the high strength of headlock, and I can pick the number of tracks that I generate at one time. I like to generate 3, so then I can see which one I love the most. And then it'll start to generate your tracks. And then once you find tracks that you love, I'm not sure if my audio is playing here, but you can then download the track itself or download the stems and then take that out into a DAW and make whatever you want. And you'll hear components like in some of these. So we hear like a remix, a little bit of headlock here. You can like hear how it'll take components, but then it'll totally flip it into whatever it was that you prompted. And then you can get technical, like how I wrote this synthwave prompt, or you can do one like this, a slow walk into a warehouse where something bad is about to go down. So you can, and then this one I used What Have You Done to Me? And I mean, something bad is clearly about to go down.
But it might turn out to be good in the end.
It is good in the end. It makes you feel like something creepy is about to happen in this. So,
and the thing about it is, it's like,
oh, it's good. can take what you want from it. So say you're like, oh, I like that bass pad. You can take that out, or you can pull out a specific sound, or you could use the whole thing and go right with whatever you want to use it for.
Yeah, it's a great starting kit,
That's a simple
basically.
spin.
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
super fun starting kit with guilt-free. That you can
Guilt free.
just you can just go. You can take the stems. You can download the stems, drag them into whatever you're using, Ableton or whatever, and then start chopping it up, create a song out of it, and then it's entirely yours. And yeah, the nice thing from our side as well, it doesn't really affect you because you've paid for it, you're clear. But from my side, I'm excited about in the metadata of this what do you call it, process, the output that's been processed that you have, it gets tagged with metadata and included in lots, Jen has lots of metadata just for the, that goes to the blockchain and hashes it. And I've asked that every single song that has been infused into a prompt retains its Oracle song ID. And, maybe that doesn't mean anything right now, but in time, it's showing that you will be able to show in time the reach and what your song's got up to. Not to the point where it goes into somebody's emails and, off it goes, but just like to understand where your music's been, to understand the life of your music. Where is it, was it really like loved on Jen, or was it this other service over here? Like, what's really kicking off right now? In the same way that it would be nice to be able to understand your fandom, but to be able to understand what people are really clicking with and how they are enjoying using your music and in what capacities. But also this, I feel like as a musician with this concept, I feel supported. I feel like I'm being paid now. Like, I don't have to wait however long. And I'm not trying to claim royalties from work after this, because it feels like, if I get, it's not a sync, but if I get, like the OC. So the OC were like, oh, we love your song hide and seek. I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. We're going to put it at the end of your, we're going to put that up. And it's like, that's amazing. I've already made the song. And then they paid me extra money for something that I'd already done. And it's just like, here's some extra money. And that's what happens on the radio if you're lucky, or, But invariably, in the digital space, this doesn't happen. You get next to nothing, if anything, if you're lucky, unless you have a massive hit. The doorbell's got stuck in the downstairs front door there. There we go. Anyway, bit distracting. Stop now. So it's basically, you've done your work. There are Spotify's and Apple's and whatever you want to do. You can get it up in your usual way. But what's the harm in just having yet another revenue stream that is entirely yours, and you have the control over what you want to do with that? It's just really exciting. It's like a sample pack almost, but it's not using your actual song. It's not using your actual voice. It's not using your. It's something completely different, and I just love it. I hope it opens up the imaginations of some musicians who who are afraid that they are somehow going to be less if AI, comes in and stomps in the room and just like pushes them out the door. I really feel like we can build this future together where we really complement each other. I'm excited about, be able to create tracks on Jen, and just in the same way that I would maybe look at a sample kit, or maybe look at, generating an arpeggio with some, with the Electribe or something. It's the same. It's just like on hand, digital, ready, in the cloud. It's the same. It's just another generator of sound, basically. But it has this lovely connection and history with the style filters to the people and the music that you love. Yeah, I don't know. It's just cool. So I need to get better at my prompts, because I'm not very good. I think, as we all know, if anyone's used any kind of generative AI, anything, chat interface, whatever, you know that your result is as good as your prompt, basically. So if you type in really amazing song that's going to be a massive hit, it's probably not going to be that.
We're about to launch an amazing prompt studio
Oh yeah.
that helps you master prompts. We've
Oh
been
nice.
working on it for a while, so it gamifies like creating prompts in really cool ways.
That's cool.
But that's you can also use the GPTs of the world to
Yeah.
give you
Yeah.
really descriptive prompts.
That's true.
And that's what's amazing is what comes out of Gen from like really obscure words is really fascinating.
Mm-mm. Yeah, in a way, the more unique your prompt, the more specific and yeah, unusual it will be. And actually, that's kind of the concept a bit also of the future of work with describing yourself and describing
Mhm.
your work is the more information you can give, the more unique that well, everybody is unique and every song is unique, but the more you can describe that, the more you can give contextual information around that, the more discoverable it'll be, the more
Mhm.
variety we'll all have, the more we'll find things that we love. Um, and so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that that would be the same. Um,
They were saying content is king forever. Remember, I feel like that was like the last 10 years, everyone was like, content is king.
mm,
Now it's data is king because it is, and we have to like reflex our imagination. We like
yeah.
stopped using it. I mean, you did not stop, but many other people in the world did. So it's like now is an opportunity to like reflex those muscles to be like, what is the craziest thing I can imagine? And I think that's what the coolest part of AI is the crazier visual you can bring up in your head, the most amazing sounds that you'll get. So I think it's going to take creativity in general across the planet and
Mm,
all AI use to like a much more articulate place because people will be forced to really think about like how do they see the world.
mm,
And you can also learn a lot about people by how they prompt. I've been noticing this
mm.
recently because you'll see where like people will start to create like quantum physics
Mm-mm.
underwater with flying dirt. And then you'll see like other people creating like a magical forest with special birds. And it's like, wow, your knowledge of birds is really deep.
Mm-mm.
So it's like, it's a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to use AI, especially in music. I'm not, I'm coming across more producers using it and not talking about how much they're using it than, I mean, every day it's just so rapid. I think soon enough everyone will have AI in all of their songs.
Mm-mm.
And it's not that it does not going to sound like computer sounds. These are trained on real instruments, but
But
it's creating infusions of instruments that are pretty cool.
yeah, but it's also that goes back to, you know, when I made Speak for Yourself, or even before that with Frou Frou, everyone's like, "God, your music's electronic, but it has so much feeling," and it's like, yeah. Why should it make a
Yep.
difference whether I have a rock band or whether I make with electronic instruments or work to a rigid beat? Why should it be any less feeling? It's
Yep.
about the humans who work with with the music
Yep.
and what you conjure out of it. There's so much music that I feel like it isn't generated, but it sounds like it is. It's just like boring and
Right.
just it's hard to know now because so much music that gets uploaded, it just sounds like it is generated, but it's not.
Yep.
And then the stuff that is generated, you're like, is it generated? So clear,
Someone
I'm
said
not
to me,
sure.
someone said to me the other day, they're like, "Oh, AI is just going to make a ton of bad music." I was like, "There's already a ton of bad
Mm,
music."
there is. And there will be a huge amount of bad music generally now, just in general. But eventually we will come around and those bright minds, whether they started out learning classical instruments or theory, or it doesn't matter. But there will be people who just master these
Yeah.
technologies and make the most incredible things. And not just, it won't be just an AI output. It's like, it's a conversation. It's a collaborator. It can be a collaborator. And as these tools get more and more, what's the word?
Yeah.
Can't think of the word. Anyway, when they get better, um, in general, they'll be just so again in music and visuals and VR and all kinds of imaginations that we couldn't even have imagined that will inspire us as humans to create more creatively. It feels like it's hard to find music that really makes your head turn and go, wow, that's something really different. I love that. That's like excites me because I've heard something that really has changed the way I've felt about music, and it's very rare these days. And I absolutely love it when it happens. Even if I don't even like the music, I just
Yeah.
love that somebody's done something truly or verging on original. Nothing is ever original. So I'm excited to see how this might expand our human creativity at large. Because, even just if you look at things like dance, on TikTok or the internet or wherever, people are learning things so fast from other people. They've been doing it for decades now. But before we saw how people danced in their own homes, before we got tutorials, before we learnt languages from, online, it was really slow. Knowledge sharing was slow. Style changing was slow. Now it's super fast. And people can do incredible things with their bodies that you just can't imagine people being able to do 20 years ago, because they couldn't see it happening. They couldn't learn it from others. So I think that as we get more these fusings of styles and people and all different walks of life trying this stuff out, we're going to have this like explosion of creativity. And I wonder if it gets to the point where it happens so fast, actually, that it isn't even really about tracks anymore. It's just about being creative in the moment, in real time. So in a few years, we still are very much in this world of kind of linear tracks, and we listen from beginning to end, and unless it's just in the background. But I think that the whole process of engagement, of being a part of that music, being a part of that visual, being a part of that story, will become everyone's possibility. And this is a step forward into that. Anyone can come in here and create music and have a start. And, it's much less of a learning curve to then take that somewhere, and maybe you don't know your theory, maybe you don't know how to play chords. That's okay. You can still hear it in your head. You can still imagine that you can sing, or imagine that you can play the drums, but you can't actually play the drums. And we all learn to talk, but imagine if we didn't all learn to talk. Maybe we'd have some other amazing like telepathic skills that we've lost, because words have got in there. So I just wonder if this is somehow an unleashing, an allowance of more the energy of what you feel you can create inside, but you're barricaded by your physical restrictions of what you've been taught or what had time to do with your life. And then eventually, I just think, well, I don't know where I'm going with this really, but I just feel like I think there's something in the limitation of time and generating tracks. This is a step forward that will take us to that real-time generation with real people connecting real styles in the moment with actual musicians playing. It will all be this kind of cacophony, not in a nice way, that you can kind of tune into across the world in real time. But it's hard to do that. It's hard. I mean, I love making music, but quite a lot of the time there's a barrier of, okay, I've got to get it. Oh, I've got to get the latest version of this. Oh, that plugin's not working with this version of Ableton. Oh, so I've got to get the gloves have run out of battery. It's just like endless things that if you're a little bit easily distracted like I am, you just lose interest and just do something else. So this is it's the nice thing about there are these tools coming in that make us feel like we can get to that creative place quicker. And in a world where, there are so many things for us all to do, I think it's exciting that we get to that point quicker, that we allow ourselves to get there. And then once we're in the flow. It's great. But getting there. So this is like a fast track, I feel. So
it's also an opportunity you can't collaborate with everyone.
No.
And so all of the people who are like, oh, I wish I could get in the studio with Imogen, and they can't because you don't have enough time in the world. This is their opportunity to be like, well, what would you do if you had Headlock to work with?
Yeah.
So that's where I think it's like, and then Him Gone Ape, they can release it with Him Gone Ape.
Exactly. My alter
Hour 3 or segment 3.
Yeah, exactly.
At this rate, it'll be hour 3.
Oh God, yeah, we're still talking. So
I'm here for it.
I'm going to create a prompt, but I'm not the best at prompts, so I'm going to try another one. I'm going to try the prompt inspiration coming to my mind. I'm going to say Gabba techno played on the rings of Saturn.
I love using bioluminescence in my prompts as a word.
Bioluminescence surrounded by a starry bioluminescence. I can spell. Does it have spell check?
I think we might need to
I
add
think I
that.
definitely need that. I'm terrible at spelling. I don't know what that says, but hopefully it will understand.
It will.
Gabba techno played on the rings of Saturn, surrounded by a starry bioluminescence. Joy of joy, and arpeggiated, syncopated, melodic, melodic. Does it understand modes? Like, can you say keys and tempos in it yet?
You
That you
can, yeah.
want it to be. So you can say, I
Yep.
want it to be 140.
Yep.
Okay, nice.
Now it will, based on what style filter you use,
Mm,
it may decide that it wants a blend
yeah,
or it wants to change the tempo based on whatever genre it's going to make, which this Saturn rings bioluminescence,
yeah. Okay, I'm going to
it's a
test it
new,
out.
it's a new genre for it to understand.
Okay, I'm going to put 140 BPM. Aeolian G key. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. It's also early days, isn't it? It's like you're learning as well. It's the first time you've put this out. You're learning.
It is.
And
I
this
mean,
is
we launched it today. We've obviously been working on it for a while, but as we update the models, which is very frequently, basically every month, it kind of evolves. The models evolve sonically, fidelity. We add new training data sets. So the instruments, like I know earlier you were playing with the idea of a flute. We have a training data set coming with more flutes in it.
mm-mm,
So as it learns really interesting instruments, it will just continue to evolve. I think that where AI is going to be over the next year is it's going to be out of here by then. So it's
mm.
moving so fast.
Can I ask you actually? I have this like imagination of, so people might have practice their sitar or practice their, shakuhachi flute or whatever. And they would just be in their living room or in a rehearsal room or whatever. They might just be practicing. Is there a world, do you think, where those practicings, those trialings, those just like moments that are always more like a means to an end. It's like, oh, I'm practicing to do this thing that then I will get money for, or practicing to do a show that now. Is there something in that practicing, in that present moment with the musician and their instrument that in the future companies like Jen might be interested in learning from in real time, that might even kind of pay the performer, the kind of practicing person, so that in real time you're getting an abundance of music and sound from all over the world, from people just practicing. I don't know, is there something in that rehearsal thing that could become something? I don't
I
know.
mean, you're just giving away all my secrets.
Oh, okay. So you are. You are. I know you are thinking about it, but are you really?
We're definitely doing it.
Yeah.
And we're working very deeply on it because I think the point that's really important is that there are unique sounds. Like people will say to me, "Oh, well, I was asking it to add fuzzy fenders." And like
Yeah.
sometimes I got fuzzy fenders and other times I didn't. And I was like, "That's because I have to finish building a data set of fuzzy fenders."
Yeah.
So the specificity, I think when AI training kind of hit
Mm.
the zeitgeist. A lot of people didn't understand that there's not these training data sets lying around that are just
Mm.
available to be licensed that have all of the sounds
Mm.
because musicians aren't like, let me just make all these and put them in a file and like
Mm.
hold them in case technology got to a place where like
Mm.
I would need all this data. And it's just not how the traditional music making process goes, as you know.
Mm.
So and the only other way to get it is to strip the internet of it and steal everything.
Yeah.
And obviously that wasn't my path that I was going to take, having grown up with my dad as a musician and doing what you just outlined, where how can technology work with artists and musicians to evolve the business model and the opportunity for them?
Mm.
That's where it's like, for me, there's nothing more important than finding a way to keep musicians at the heart of everything we do, because I don't want to live in a world where computers are making everything I hear. I want to know that at 18 years old, you were thinking about if aliens were going to land. Sorry to out you, but you were. And so
I was actually
that's like
16,
that.
15.
16,
Yeah.
even earlier.
Yeah.
So you were bringing disclosure onto the scene 30 years ago, and that tells a part of your story. Like I think that's the world, at least that's the world I want to live in.
Mm.
And so I think that that's an important part, to bring the legacy of musicians and where music came from historically into the future.
Mm.
Otherwise, what do we have?
Yeah. So do you think then, because, at Oracles we're trying to do a lot of things. We're doing a lot of things. And one of them is you can aura drop a track in. It analyzes it. It can give you the emotional trajectory. It can give you the semantic information. It can give you the instrumentation, the tempo, the key, it can even give you a description of what that song is. Do you think it's worth then, even creating some kind of module within Oracles, or maybe Jen could create a module, which Oracle holders could
Yes.
add on, and then literally as they're rehearsing in real time, they could hit record. Either
Yep.
they describe literally, well, even in their Oracle, it would say what instruments they have. They could drop down menu and go, oh, I'm using this type of flute with this amount of,
Yep.
it's tuned to this key from this year, and have all of that information so that it's literally attached to the recording. They don't even have to add it. And then when it comes in there, you have information that is already pre-tagged. It has the instrument maker, has the instrument model,
Yep.
it has the performer and the performer ID, and then they could retain that in that whatever that is into a safety box that
Mhm.
then Jen could access under certain terms that they agree with the performer, whatever that might be.
Yep.
Is that a future, or is it something that is that like I'm thinking in terms of financially, or even if there would be any finance involved in paying for rehearsed, like even if you were like Jen needs, we need this, we need this particular type of Gretsch drum kit played in this particular style because we're really missing that. Lots of people are asking for it. Could you even imagine a world where Jen could kind of act almost like a marketplace and be like, we're looking for this. Whoever was willing to do that for us, here's a job right now. I don't know. Is there anything, or is it unnecessary? I'm just wondering. There are all those people out there who have so many skills, particular styles, particular ranges of voices, or anything in the future. And it is those unique intersections that are going to bring work. So the more you can describe your skills, what you do, the instruments you have, the more opportunities you have to earn other types of revenue streams. And I know that Jen, you have, you have trained and you have a business model and you have, apportioned a side of that to the base model training, instrumentation and audio that you've done. I just want to make it really clear, actually, in case nobody knows this. So when you do add a track as a style filter on Jen, it doesn't go into the base model. It is
Correct.
purely removable. It's literally, the base model exists.
It's a model on top.
Yeah, and then it just like weights the model to sound more like headlock. But the headlock track or whatever track doesn't go into the base model. So if you decide, oh, I don't know, I don't want it on there anymore, you can take it off and it's clean. There's no like leftover review there. But if I'm imagining like at the moment, you've got a lot of sounds in Jen, you've got a lot of diversity, but it's still. We don't have like ancient recordings of, strange tuned instruments and harps, because that's just not what we have as recordings. And there are less of those, and there are less of those in our databases, in our licensable, libraries of works. And I'm just curious the length and the kind of the breadth and the diversity of music that we would need in life to really honor musical creativity from all around the world. Um, yeah, I'm just wondering how that would work, like as a business model financially,
Well,
how
we
it would work.
know,
Yeah.
we know, so we're gonna launch it soon, and we just need Andy to build the Aura Drop part tomorrow.
All right. Well, we've got Aura Drop. We've got it. Can you already use it?
It's this is going to be ready very fast.
Okay.
So
So,
anyone that's listening that wants to participate, stay tuned.
so are you talking about like if you wanted to contribute some sounds to the base models?
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. Can I go on that list of people, please? Because
I
basically,
think
I
you
improvise.
can be on the list.
No, but imagine like the amount of times that I sit at the piano and just
Yeah,
improvise. Like, just
totally.
I would love it if I could get paid for that. Or kind of
Exactly.
get somehow contribute to this, but
Yeah.
also have, because in time I know we've spoken about this. So again, I'm literally don't know what I'm talking about, but so as far as I understand, there's two different types of AI kind of output. So you have a you have diffusion model
Transform.
and the transform
Mhm.
model, and the transform model is like this and this creates this, and then a
Mhm.
diffusion model is like la la la,
Yep.
bit of mystery, and out this thing comes. And at the moment, there's no real way to identify the lineage of all of that, all of those strands of things that might have gone into a diffusion model, because it's not as simple as this plus this plus this. But
Mhm.
in time, probably with AI's help itself,
Yes.
we'll figure out how to do that.
Yep.
And when that time comes, that shakuhachi flute player, me at the piano over here, might be
Yeah,
able to be identified in a very long lineage and can
definitely.
suddenly be unearthed in a way that cannot be done in any way now. So it's even just if you invest time into sharing your work, your playing, now it might not be seen, but it will be there and it will
Mhm.
exist. And in time, it will emerge, and you will be part of
Yep.
the story of generating tracks in the future. Um, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay. Now you've probably got a million things to
Yeah.
do, and I should probably let you go. Is that correct? Do you have like
Always, but I
important
also
meetings?
know how to be present.
Yes, you do. But also,
What's more important?
well,
But we just have a few articles coming out on this right
Oh
now.
yeah, that's true. So yeah,
Mm.
we did a Rolling Stone, didn't we? We did you did Forbes last night. Who else did we do? We did Hollywood Reporter. What else did we do?
We've just been hanging out telling everyone our
Just telling
story.
everyone. So yeah, there should be some pieces coming up online, and hopefully they'll have got the gist. If they
Yep.
don't, read around. But you've heard it from the horse's mouth. Horse's mouth.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I'm excited. There's always kind of early on in an interview, you know where somebody's coming from, and you're like, it's going to be hard to turn this around. But I hope that I did on some of them, because there is this deep skepticism. There is this like fear, from
I think
people.
people just don't understand. I mean, if I were an artist, and obviously I feel your emotion around this, if I felt like I worked my entire life on my art and then I realized or suspected that it was being used to train somebody else's business and I wasn't participating, that would make me feel like my soul was taken.
Yeah.
So I understand why the skepticism is out there.
Mm,
Every new technology brings a lot of fear of how is it going to affect our lives? How is it going to affect our art? How is it going to affect everything? And now we're even moving at warp speed because of the way that AI is moving. So it makes a lot of sense, but that's why you and I have probably done, I can't even count how many now conversations, discussions with people, conferences, because it takes a lot of explaining. I don't think we're anywhere close to
mm,
finish line.
yeah.
It's just a lot of making people feel more comfortable and having a lot of compassion that
Mm,
we're all kind of learning this together and that the best way to learn something is play around with it and see how you feel.
yeah. 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 And we haven't actually touched on it, but it's a big subject. But is the environmental impact of AI? There is this kind of, I know that I'm going to get eaten alive on on my socials after people reading this and this and that, because some people's immediate go-to is like, AI is bad, it's bad for our environment, it's X, Y, and Z, and it's
But
like,
so is YouTube.
so is
I'm not
YouTube,
defending
so is eating a
anything
hamburger.
bad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, and I would just love people to take a breath and to understand the implications of what this is. Yes, we have severe issues on our planet with climate change and resource and displacement of people and lots of things. And it's evident. It was evident in LA. It's evident in the storms, in the hurricanes, in the tornadoes. It's evident everywhere. AI is not something that is directly. That is over many years of negligence, and I see a future where if the individuals are connected directly with as little travel as possible between the entities who are doing business, there's a direct link. The absolute less travel,
Yeah.
and the less data centers, and the less, people just like doing the same thing with the same data here, then there's bad data here, and that sends this, and there's another bank account involved. Like, that is way worse than what we are doing here. This is a direct thing. This is a low impact use of AI that is ultimately leading to a future where we have less of that in general, that there is this direct connection as people, as human to human, as human to service, and there's less of this big, long, windy road, to the point where, I as an artist, when I receive money from Jen, I can decide on my Oracle to send that money, all of it or some of it, to charities that I care about. And at the moment, if I was to do that via the long-winded route of streaming, it's not really possible. I have to unpick so much. I have to dedicate a person to do a thing, it's just not possible. But at least I can say, okay, the money that comes in, a third of that is going to go to Earth%. And that is significantly more impact to go towards solving issues of climate change when you're funding people, based on work that otherwise money that couldn't have existed. And together, as a holistic system, we can solve these problems, but not if we just bash something and don't think about the whole approach, the wide-reaching, interconnected approach that we can have if we decentralize, essentially, and if we if we can connect immediately and deeply to the things that we care about. We can shift consciousness. We can shift the way that we do business. So that's what I would like to say to those people. Not that they're ever going to hear this, because even if they do hear it, they're going to ignore it, because they never share the good news. But just to say, it's not something that's not on my mind. It is very much on my mind and a part of this. It's not being ignored. It is very much part of this whole hope of building these systems. Supportive of not just people and creativity, but also of our planet. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. However, I am going to go now. But I would like to just
Are you
quickly...
going to go make some music?
Well, no, I'm not actually.
Oh, you're
I'm
not?
going to go and fill out my oracles, because I really want to get geeky, and just do that before the next stream. But I would like to play my prompt. So let's see what it did. And maybe I might just spend a few minutes on it before the next stream to see what I've done with it. So this is Gabba Techno, played on the rings of Saturn, surrounded by a starry bioluminescence of joy. Arpeggiated syncopated melodic sine waves, 140 BPM alien G key. Let's see. Infused with headphones. Oh, that's my internet. Sorry. Oh, that's my internet. Really not behaving itself. I can hear headlock in there, but not the recording.
Totally.
Okay, so I did 3 different versions.
Very Saturn-y.
Okay, I'm going to choose one of these and do something with it.
Ooh, I like that one.
See that?
Ooh, this is intergalactic.
Anyway,
Ooh,
there we go. That was fun.
I like that.
So I'm going to download all those stems and have a little play, and I'll update you later on. Right.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me,
My
as
pleasure,
always.
as always, yes, a joy. I wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to
Thank
see
you.
if anyone signs up and does some stuff.
Well, they already are.
They
I
already
have the
are.
data, so
Oh, are
it's
they now? Well
good.
done you.
We've already made money that you haven't made elsewhere.
Money in the bank. Let's pop the champagne open. No, let's get another person on the team. Develop.
Yep.
Well, I'm very excited. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'm sure I'll be catching up with you soon.
Okay, enjoy hour 2 and 3.
Lots of love. Bye. Right. Okay, is that the end of the stream or am I still going? I'm still going. Seamless. So wow, that was a great conversation as always. We literally only touched the sides of what we talked about in the last year. Okay, so I have this track, and what I'm going to do later, if I have any time, I'm going to download that stem. I'm going to take this one. It goes musically. Okay. Right. Okay, I'm going to download the stems, and I'm going to... Your stems are being prepared for downloading. Thank you. And I'm going to check it's 140 BPM, which it sounds like it is. And then I'm going to maybe do something with that. We'll see. Maybe I won't. I say things and then I don't do them. But I'm certainly going to... I'm excited. I've been excited. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Okay, so have fun. Let me know what you think. But only if it's positive. No, not really. Just let me know what you think. And later on, we're going to talk through Auracles. We're going to talk you through... you can download samples. We're going to talk you through a bit more of Imogen Heap. We're going to talk you through some features. We're going to introduce you to Freak, our new team member, Freak Daddy. And he's going to be on the stream with us, as well as Andy, talking about updates. And yeah, so that's going to be at 5, I think, which is in 2.5 hours from now. So I'll see you then. And then at about 8 o'clock UK time, give or take a half an hour of setup, I'll be doing a long improvisation of Imogen Heap, and I want to do it so that I actually see lots of responses online. So I will be reacting to that, and maybe we'll do that also with Auracles at 5 p.m. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, please leave the Imogen, when are you going to next tour? Leave that. We're Auracles and Auracles only, and maybe some other things. Okay, lots of love, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.